What's going on, guys? Seth and Chevy here. We just watched episode 18 of season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen. We're going to be talking full spoilers ahead, so hopefully you've seen this episode. It's pretty far into the show as well. If you are watching this review, that'd be kind of weird. And yeah, let's do a real quick recap. Very straightforward episode. So Yuji's still kind of wandering around in a daze, trying to basically collect himself. He's got a lot of things going on in his head, a lot of flashbacks. Then we pan over to Nanami, who is also in a daze, walking around half burnt, and he comes upon a group of curses, passes Mahito just sitting in a photo booth, and he is kind of in a mix of what's happening in front of him and this dream state of thinking about Malaysia and how he wants to live on a secluded beach, and that's his plans. While he is thinking about that, he fights the curses. That's a big fight between all of them. He's destroying them. They're starting to get some hits in, though. At one point, he drops his weapon. He's able to pick it up quickly, but kind of giving us a taste of he's kind of losing steam. And yeah, while he is fighting and getting hit, he's also still imagining himself on the beach. Once he has finished all these dudes off, Yuji down the hall hears this, comes running, awoken from his daze, kind of. And Nanami finds that Mahito is now behind him. He has his hand on his back. He wants to have a chat with him since they've fought before. Nanami is having visions of, who is that?
Can't remember his name.
Yeah, I forgot his name too. But he's having some kind of back and forth dialogue with him, while Yuji comes on the corner, sees Nanami, trying to figure out what's happening, sees Mahito. And then Nanami makes a decision and basically tells Yuji that it's up to him now, and gets eviscerated. I mean,
jibbed.
Yeah, he it's like a quick growth tumor. He just explodes. And yeah, so Nanami is gone now. So long, rest in peace. And yeah, so Mahito and Yuji share a quick dialogue real fast before Yuji loses it and runs at him. They end up fighting. It's a big, crazy fight. And let me just say, when it comes to imagination in a fight scene, I don't know if you go further, like higher than this. I don't know if I've seen an anime get this crazy with the imagination. They're fighting all over the place, though. Mahito's using a lot of his tricks, making like curse transfigured human walls, and trying to smash Yuji into the subway wall with his wall. Yuji uses this to his advantage in a couple parts, being able to close distance and hit this dude. Definitely Yuji's strength and weakness is close range. And yeah, crazy stuff happens in there. They break through the wall. They continue fighting. Yuji makes it to an elevator on his way, trying to get out of there. And Mahito pursues him. A bunch of crazy shit ensues in that elevator shaft. And yeah, how did it fucking end again? Because I'm getting ready to hop to the end part, but how did it resolve? Do you remember?
Did it resolve?
The thing came flying up the elevator at him. He got out.
And that was it.
Yeah, just cut off there. Okay, a lot of things were happening.
Kind of went to a flashback.
Yeah, and that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
So anyway, they're fighting. We go to a flashback where Jogo and the rest of them are still alive. At this point, they're still discussing, what they're going to do with Yuji when they find him. He has a disagreement. Mahito has a disagreement with Jogo still about this, and Mahito splits himself into two to basically give him an edge on finding Yuji first. Puts a wall behind him so Jogo can't pursue, at least slow him down. We've seen that Jogo is a pretty powerful dude. He could probably get through that pretty easily. And yeah, they split up, the two Mahitos, and which I hate. I already hate one Mahito. Two Mahitos is too much. In fact, when we're watching the fight scene, I was like, Mahito's got to go, dude, because he's got like so many new powers and abilities. I was like, this guy's ridiculous. Like, yeah. gotta get rid of this dude. Yeah, so basically the episode ends in an alleyway where Nobara, I always forget her name, runs into one of the Mahitos and basically starts fighting him. He's able to hit him a couple times, but Mahito says this isn't gonna work for him. Basically, when I saw it too, I was like, nails aren't gonna kill that guy. And we are left at the end of the episode with Mahito having a plan. He kind of mentioned this earlier too when he's fighting Yuji, that Yuji's got a major weakness, and he's going to exploit that by using Nobara as a way to kind of break Yuji, as if you need to break him.
State is his weakness.
As if you need to break him any further, because he's already kind of going through it. We've seen he just gets angrier and angrier and starts throwing punches. So yeah, that's the episode. What do we think?
I mean, like every other episode, the season was a good episode. The
season's killing it.
Yeah, the scene with Nanami was pretty obvious, not the way he was going to go out, but
that he was going out.
Him viewing his retirement and the piano music and all that. I was like, it's a huge red flag, man.
Yep. I expected him to get taken out anyway, like even back around the time that they were fighting that like crab octopus merman guy. Dude. Yeah, because I was like, I think he's out. Like, I don't think he's gonna be able to combat what's happening here. But then he got fried, and I'm like, I don't know what he's gonna do now. I don't know if he's alive. And then he showed up, and kind of made sense. But yeah,
we're still missing the other two.
Yeah. If he was that fucked up, how the hell are they? Like, something had to have intervened or something. I don't know. Some kind of Luke Skywalker in a tube healing situation. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll find out.
It was still sad though. I mean, Nanami is one of the main characters at this point, I'd say, and
there's a lot of Nanami stands.
Yeah, and
they're get upset.
They spent a lot of time making that guy super cool. So
he died super cool.
Yeah, though it was real sad listening to him. He's just fighting on and talking about how exhausted he is, and I was like, man, I can only imagine. Like,
that's part of his character though. He's not going to give up. So
pass the torch effectively because he's just done.
That's what I feel like this whole arc is almost doing. Possibly is passing the torch from some of the upper people to the newer people. Yeah, I'm not seeing it being done effectively enough, but except for Megumi's whole summoning a fucking Cthulhu situation.
Forcing himself to use something he's not ready for.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is interesting he knows how to do all that stuff, but he also realizes like he's not powerful enough to manage those apparitions, basically. Yeah,
it's like he's accessing, I don't want to say unearned knowledge, but like it's something outside, like further out than he can control.
Yeah.
He's tapping into something.
Yeah, and this whole arc has been people just basically having to go to extremes just to have a chance, which has been insane.
I mean, Yuji's been in 2 gigantic fights already, and then his body was fucking summoned or used by somebody else. So
yeah, he died, and he was healed by his inhabitant. So so that whole sequence was well done, I think, as well. It also kind of helps snap Yuji out of seeing what happened, obviously, to the city, and kind of makes him focus back on reality a little bit.
Yeah, eyes on the prize.
Then that whole fight was crazy. I don't even know how else you word it. Like the between like the shimmying sideways and trying to fight still, to like dodging traps that are flying at him while he's in that little corridor.
Yeah, the thing about specifically this season, but even the first season a little bit, is the fight scenes are so creative.
Yeah.
This wasn't the most badass fight scene we've seen in this season, but it was definitely one of the most creative ones.
Yeah.
If not the most creative. I was watching, I was like, somebody thought this up. Someone's like, let's take it into a hallway made by a meat wall and a wall. Let's take it into the elevator. I thought, like, for a second, I'm like, are they going to do like an homage to like T2 or something? No, he's like rips the top open. He comes in. Yuji's just decking him out. And he like stretches into a ring when he goes to punch him in the center. I was just like, man, they're going crazy with this. And then he's running and shooting at him. And just like, there's so much shit going on. And I don't feel bad because Yuji will be fine likely, but everyone's got all these crazy fucking powers, and Yuji just punch hard.
Yeah.
That's Yuji's, and he kicks good too. But fucking like, you got to get close to Yuji, and like, so I feel like he's got to, just like Nobara. I'm like always wondering about. I'm like, hey, the nails and hammer thing. It's cool. You got to up your game though a bit. Like you got to get a new.
All the students are kind of in that boat. So
yeah, well, yeah, true. Because I feel the same about Megami, but he's just finally like. We've said it a million times, but there's a game on PS3 called Folklore where it's basically Pokemon. You kill monsters and then you use them as your abilities. Like your punches and kicks are all summons happening at once.
Yeah.
It's basically Megami. And so even though I can't really think of him as like, oh, he's going to kick whoever's ass or take control of the situation, I'm constantly surprised by him because he's pulling all these rabbit spheres that are all kung fu masters,
right?
Whereas like Yuji punch and Nobara talks shit and shoots nails at people. Yeah, so
they all have so far very simple abilities. So.
I mean, even Maki too. Maki needs a weapon.
Yeah, she has no curse energy.
Yeah, so it's like they all got something to overcome, but I'm waiting for that. Like Yuji, I'm waiting for Yuji to. I mean, like I said, when he's fighting people, it's really cool. But like, man, he's got up his game. He's fighting people like fucking Mahito.
Well, and then during that Mahito fight, there was a moment where instead of using transfigured humans, he used himself for an attack, and Yuji punched through it, and he retracted it, and he was like, "Whoa, I shouldn't be doing that because that's how I'll die." Basically, if I get too close to this guy,
which is
and
cool.
He's been fighting him close this whole time too.
Yeah,
so.
Which is cool because it's this whole season has kind of shown the potential of everybody and that they are growing without having just like a training arc and then then they're just more powerful. We're seeing it in real time, which I kind of love.
Yeah, no, there's no training. There's just getting thrown to the fire and hope you survive.
Getting thrown in the deep end. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and then seeing basically his plan to take Nobara and use her as a means to break him mentally even more. It's right up this guy's alley. Anyways, he kind of messed with that kid, early on in the first season for a while before he finally, got rid of him. So it's kind of crazy.
Mahito's not a cool dude.
No, and I'm just like Blondie from last episode finally going. I'll be happy to see this guy go. So
it's funny because you watch like a show like Demon Slayer. The demons in that are like pretty ruthless and shitty, but like in this they really make the enemies like feel like fucking villains.
Yeah, they're gross.
You go to the store, you see like Jujutsu Kaisen merchandise, and I see like Mahito stuff, and I'm like, I would never buy that. And I'm not like, oh my god, I'm offended by it. I'm just like, he's like a shitty dude.
That guy.
I'm waiting for someone to fuck this dude up because like he's like a legit villain, which they've done a good job. And even like Sukuna, like I think he's fucking cool. I think he's like an interesting character, but that dude's a fucking piece of shit too. Like no one's valuable to that guy. So yeah, they did a really good job. That's why Jogo was kind of interesting towards the end. His end is he almost still ran by some kind of code of morality based off of actually having a plan and a mission and something
he had this
he's
whole
trying
idea
to do.
that curses are the people who should basically inherit the planet.
Yeah.
So
and so it's interesting that some of these people are like they have something they're working towards, and then other people are just like agents of chaos. And then Sukuna just doesn't really view anybody as an equal, and so he's like, I'm the fucking most powerful one. I'll just do whatever the hell I want.
Well, he's bored up until fucking dude could see his attacks, and then he got excited. So, yeah, I don't know. This season's definitely killing it. The villains are villainous. Like they're not just the bad guys. Like they are villains. And the stakes are super high. Important people have died, which doesn't happen in shows. So thank you. As much as I don't want to see Nanami go, it's also that's a huge weight that the show has added, and it makes their stakes. People can die. So
there's so many characters too in the show that for me personally was almost a weakness of the first season because they had so many people to introduce. But at this point, if they do it right. If they kill off they don't have to kill off a bunch of them, but if they kill off a couple of them, we've invested enough time with those characters in that first season where the weight of those deaths will matter.
Yeah.
and I think work really well for the story. Like, yeah, Nanami, like, yeah, it definitely sucks that he died, but like, it kind of makes sense too, because he wasn't. He's like a super powerful dude, but I never viewed him as like someone whose potential is going to get to the point where he's like like super fucking powerful.
Yeah, he wanted to retire.
Yeah,
He was
exactly,
retired.
exactly.
Yeah.
He just seemed like the old guard. So he's going to retire. He's either going to retire or get retired, basically. And he got retired. So, yeah, I think it's a really good arc, even though, yeah, it does suck that he died. He was a good character, especially in this season with how badass they made him. He was badass in the first season too, but it was more of an isolated incident and not like, this big thing happening. So, yeah. Anything else? Yeah, great episode. The whole season has been great. Also happy to see that the very understandable problems that are happening at Mappa didn't affect this episode as much as the last episode. The last episode is definitely noticeable, even though we reviewed that. If you're curious about what we thought of that, go check out that review. We liked it. But yeah, so this episode I thought was animated really well. Looked great. Especially in an episode with a crazy fight scene like this. It would have really sucked to see that with any lesser animation because of how imaginative it was. It would have really hurt it. There was one scene with Nanami where he kind of walked out where it looked like he was sliding for a second, but that wasn't a big deal. Yeah, so the fight was awesome. Super imaginative, like I said before. You're going to be hard-pressed to find something. In fact, if you know an anime that has as imaginative or more imaginative fight scenes, let me know, because I'd be curious to see that. I know people always rave about Fate, but
well, it's same people who do Demon Slayer, so the fight scenes are awesome.
Oh, for some reason I thought it was Mappa.
No, it's ufotable. So
yeah, and then yeah, Nanami getting sent off, that sucks, but like I already discussed, I think it's a good thing for the story. Mahito fucking sucks. I'm ready for him to go. I'm really curious to see what he does with Nobara. I'd have a really hard time believing that they would kill her off, but I could definitely see something bad happening to her. But at this point, if we keep getting to situations where she's just like dead weight, what are we doing with the character? So maybe they will kill her off. I think that would be shocking, but I doubt that.
Yeah, I doubt that too. I'm honestly, I'm just waiting for her power up, because like she's had the least of it so far. So
Sure. Yeah, dude. Since the first episode, she's got a nail and a hammer. She's like just shooting them. And I'm like, that's not that interesting. Especially with, and I had the same problem with Maki, but I think Maki has been sadly more developed than Nobara. Well, when I originally saw Maki, I'm like, yeah, she's badass. I get everybody says she's a badass, whatever. But then, like, through the movie and through this season, we got a little bit of stuff that made her a little more well-rounded as a character. I'm waiting for that with Nobara, and I'm not going to assume they won't do it, because I've learned my lesson with this story. They take their time to round out their characters.
We also get to see someone like her can exist, though, when you have someone like I've forgotten his name. Oh no, Toji. Yeah, because Toji has no curse.
Who's like either. Outside of the realm of things like, he fought Gojo.
Yeah,
I don't think he could fight Sukuna though. That fight was insane.
It was insane.
He's fast though, so I mean, I don't know. I'd have to see it, but anyway, yeah, Toji showed us that someone like Maki could be super powerful. You don't have to have like abilities. You just have to be able to harness cursed energy, so use it through weapons and stuff. So his whole setup was a little different though too, but definitely a good point. Yeah, really good episode. I kind of said a lot while you were talking, so pretty much agree with everything you said. Really curious to see where this goes. This season has been really full of a lot of twists and turns and surprises, which has been awesome, and just really epic fights, like 5 episodes in a row now, which has been crazy. The beginning of the season started out not slow. I've thought it's been good since the beginning, the whole setup, but there was some episodes kind of hinting towards things, and this thing's gonna happen, this thing's gonna happen, and now it's just been fight. So
there's still people missing too. It was the wild part.
A bunch of people.
So.
Like, we saw Panda for a split second. Literally, like, the episode before the one he was in, I was like, where's Panda? And then he was in the next episode. I'm like, oh, okay.
Being forced to stand still by fear, pure fear.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, definitely curious to see if more of the old guard gets taken out and the new guard has to take up the mantle. And I'm curious about Nanami's vision of, I forgot the name.
It's a dude from the movie, isn't it?
I think so. It looked like it, or somebody from Attack on Titan.
Memory's a little hazy. So.
Yeah, great episode. Can't wait to see the next episode. Anything else? All right. Well, let us know in the comments. What do you guys think about Nanami's death? And what do you think about the episode? What did you take from the episode? What did you like about the fight scene? What do you think about what's going on with Mappa? Discuss that in the comments if you want. And yeah, hopefully we get a next episode. I haven't heard much about what's going on when it comes to that. And when we do, we'll watch it, we'll review it, and we'll talk with you guys again. So I've been Seth. This has been Chevy. Until next episode, we will talk to you guys later.